Today we're going to cover a few items. So first, as always, we're going to cover a bit of an Ivanti overview. Then we're going to move into the highlights for Apple device management from this year and a little bit of what's coming next. Apple has made a lot of advancements or changes in ABM, so we want to cover a couple of features that are relevant to our use cases. Then we have, and what it's coming, Apple is also making some changes there that I know will be interesting for our use cases. And then we're going to finish in how Ivanti is providing you tools. So we understand how technology is moving super fast. We have lots of newer industries. They demand the use of these technologies so they can innovate in their spaces, providing all the information or the use cases that their areas need. So we're here to help you innovate. We can manage all devices from servers through mobile devices, wearables. Ivanti manages all the different wearables, VR, XR, spatial computing, everything that it's in them available in the market today. And we are here to help you with that. So please feel free to reach out if you have any use cases to your Ivanti sales reps, because they will help you with the solution. As I mentioned, we are covering all the different use cases. When this comes a lot of different areas in the securing and servicing those devices. So that's why Ivanti today covers enterprise service management to be able to support all the use cases, the endpoint management and security, securing the devices, exposure management, network security. Let's protect our communication and data that is moving from one device to another. And Ivanti is a recognized leader in the industry. So if you're familiar with UEM quadrant for many years as a leader on the service management side, in the UEM side, now let's move on to why we're here. What is new? What is coming with Ivanti and the tools? First of all, we are proud to introduce our new Apple restrictions. If you're an Ivanti MDM admin, you probably noticed that we released a new Apple restriction. We removed the macOS and iOS individual restrictions we had, and we created this comprehensive Apple restriction that covers not only iOS and macOS today, but it also covers restrictions specific to visionOS and to watchOS. This restriction now allows us, a new restriction is available. This will provide restriction is itself the item to be sent or not to the device. For disable state, now you can choose 3 states. You can configure for it to just go to the device or not go. And you can define, of course, the state of enable or disable, which makes you the use case much more flexible when you need to create a second restriction just to change. You don't need to send the whole payload all over again. So great improvement. Some of the things that Apple released this year. So we have the Safari extension that was released last year. So you will see that in that same payload, we are adding now the Safari settings, and coming soon, we're going to have the Safari bookmarks as well. So today, as an enterprise-grade web browser, and it keeps adding more features that our customers are asking for. So now with Ivanti, you can configure your Safari settings to make it enterprise-grade. You can configure with allows for a start page and the bookmarks that go in each of those folders. Another payload from this year, Apple Audio Accessories. Now we can control the temporary access for your users to have some personal AirPods connected to them. Something that we need to have in mind, you may have seen this, we've written many blogs and advice to customers, is that Apple is deprecating the software updates, the legacy payloads. So if you go to documentation, you will see that now software updates has all the deprecated state, and the new way is to go with the software update enforcement and software update settings that are declarative device management based. So we encourage you to start testing, moving, and configuring these new payloads for your use cases, because the software update will not work on devices 26 plus. Another declarative management enhancement, many customers have been asking, how can I know which of my configurations are declarative management based? And we added a new filter here. So now you can easily see which are declarative management applications. You'll see some of them are the Apple is not making a distinction. Everything that is new, it's coming in declarative management. So we will just announce them as new features, not necessarily putting in a bucket as declarative management, but you can see this. And why this is important, because declarative management configurations can support predicates. DDM configurations in the distribution page, you will see that they have a new bucket here to be able to add some predicates to the configuration. So if you configure any of those payloads already, you would have noticed this. So the configurations that are not supported with declarative management don't have this predicate piece available. You can create predicates and then assign, these are conditions for the payload to be applied on the device. So if you want, in this case, only the battery health is normal to have applied a software update, then you will be able to upgrade. Otherwise, the device will stay, the configuration will stay deactivated until this condition is met. Where do I create predicates? You go to the admin console in Apple, you see a tab that is called predicates. And you can create any type of predicates. These predicates are created in Cocoa language. So yes, you need to learn how Cocoa language is. It's coded, but these are expressions that you can add here and then leverage in any of our declarative device management configuration. Another innovation from this year, as I mentioned, we have very robust support for all type of wearables and other IoT devices. And we've added the ability to support watchOS store applications. And now you can directly push applications to watchOS that are specific to that device. Another innovation from this year is the Apple Passkey attestation. Apple Passkey attestation, not to be confused with Apple Passkeys or passkeys in general. This configuration does not create passkeys on the devices. It just does the attestation with an identity certificate to make sure that the passkey is approved by the company. So if you want to have passkeys that are company created with an identity certificate, this is the way. But this will not distribute passkeys to the devices. This is just to attest that the passkey on the device is company approved. So we have this ability. We know that the industry is moving in the way of adding passkeys, moving away from passwords that we all know they are not secured, cannot be easily hacked. Passkeys is the new way that will secure the access and authentication for our end users. Another innovation from last year, Apple added this screen in our devices. So iPhones now have a default app screen. And we added the ability to configure the browser app that is going to be the default app for those devices. So we can set that setting, and all the browser app that you choose, those are going to be the application that will open with any link on the end user device. This year, we have available messaging and calling app. So those will be coming in the future release. But those are some of the innovations that Apple provided us for this year in this release in iOS 26. All right, so now we're going to move into the new ABM features. Apple is really strengthening their ABM use cases, and they are providing a number of very useful features that customers have been asking for a while. And some of them require some MDM integration, and some of them are just ABM features. But from our customers' questions, we want to still discuss them because it pertains also to our area of MDM. The first feature that we're going to touch upon is the Apple device migration. You probably saw the announcement this year. Now Apple has made it easy for our customers to move from one MDM solution to another. This can cover many use cases. As you know, we have an on-prem solution and we have our cloud solution at Ivanti. if our customers now are migrating from the on-prem solution into our cloud solution, they can use this feature to re-enroll the devices dynamically, automatically, without the manual intervention. So the feature is purely on ABM. There is no MDM integration required. You just go to the device, you click on Assign Device Management, which is not new. You'll get this screen for any eligible device that is Apple 26, iOS or macOS 26. You'll see a new option here that it's called Add a Deadline. This is the new innovation. So when you add a deadline, then the device will automatically request the end user to restart and re-enroll the device without any other extra intervention from their side. So once you set the deadline expires. This is the end user experience. The device will get a restart required, so on the left-hand side, and the end user will be stuck in the screen. So they will be forced to restart the device. Once the device restarts, they will see the device management request to enroll in the new MDM. So for the end user, it's seamless. They just see the screen. They will get enrolled this iPad, and once it's finished and enrolled, then the device is moved back to the new MDM, and the process stops. So it's very seamless. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. We can easily use this to bring customers that are planning to move into Ivanti. And as you see, it's very seamless to use. Another important feature that did require some MDM support from our side is the Apple Access Management. This feature, I think it passed a little bit unnoticed last year, but it's very critical because Apple is adding a lot of services, as I mentioned, from their side in ABM. So from our side, the MDM had to support a token that it's just in the backend, in the background, so you don't have to enable anything. But now our platforms, the on-prem solution and the cloud solution, are talking to ABM for this access management as well. If you go to your ABM tenant, you will see an access management tab. What does this access management tab? It allows many of the Apple services to be configured and passed to the devices with granular controls. You can set up which type of iCloud access they have, the passwords and keychain links, all the applications that are in the iCloud. You can control now what goes to the iCloud and what doesn't from ABM as well. For example, I mentioned before the Apple passkeys at the station. If you're working with passkeys already and you're looking to add it to the cloud keychain, this is the way to do it. You enable access management, come to password and keychain. You can enable this, and now it will be added to the keychain of the devices. Same here. All these different features are the ones that can be configured. The wallet, the FaceTime, messages. You can configure also developer. So you can have some devices access Apple Seed for IT or block for some other devices, and also provide access to Apple applications, all the different set of applications and granular controls for those applications. They can be set from this screen as well. All right, that was ABM. Moving into application management. As you know, Ivanti has a very robust application management solution. We've been leaders for many years. And do you see here our app catalog? We integrate with all the major stores as well. As I mentioned previously, we now even have access to watchOS store, so you can configure applications directly from there. And we have all the required configurations for these applications. We have install on device, defining the behavior of if you want to install the applications right away or at registration, you want to force it, you want to be mandatory. And then we have all the Apple Managed App configurations that require the key pairs, so the key value pairs. So you can define specific use cases for each configuration and device. So we have the distribution of the configuration, and then you can even have a nested distribution for that specific configuration to different applications. We have the Apple App Settings and also the VPN that are available. Apple App Books, apps and books, licenses, very granular control from our console as well. As I mentioned, these are the app configuration, the manage app configurations, where you can add all the different key value pairs using a plist and then distribute it to a different set of devices. We also have our corporate app. So apps at work and it for our iPhones and apps at work, also for our macOS, very robust corporate app store. So you can have your end users to self-serve and get their applications right away. Changes. So this is what we have today that is very robust, but Apple is making changes in the backend. So first, they added some features. So we have iOS 26 and macOS 26 features, and these are great features that will be coming soon on our side that I want to still touch upon them because I know customers are looking forward to them. So organizations can enforce, disable, and set automatic updates for App Store apps to follow all the user preference. This has been customers asking for it if they want to disable an update so it doesn't go to devices yet. So that is one of the main features that is coming. Also, now organizations can control the releases, pinning a specific version. So if some devices need to get only one version and stay on that version, that is also available or has been released now. And I think one of the main features that customers have been asking is to restrict the app downloads over cellular networks so it doesn't consume all the data plans. So these are iOS 26 and macOS 26 features that were released this year that also we will be covering on the app management side, but Apple also made some other enhancements. With declarative management, we will be supporting as well a new type of app, Apple Manage App Configs, and it's called the Manage App Framework. So as you saw before, we have the ability to send key value pairs today for the Apple Manage App Configs. With the new improvements, now we can define passwords, certificates, and identities specifically for some applications. So they will live there on the application for the end user's easiness to load into the app. And on the other side, Apple has announced some time ago as well the ability to create a new Apple app catalog. Today we have apps at work, but they've provided a Swift UI that companies can leverage to get that application or seamless native app work feeling for our end users. So all this will come in the future. This is declarative management based, everything that you see here. And of course, it's on our radar and in our roadmap. All right, moving on to macOS devices. As you know, Ivanti is very strong in macOS device management. We have all the required security features. This is just a subset, but I just want to make sure that it's clear. We have the control of the gatekeepers. Of course, File Vault 2 is enabled. New features like the Create Disk Management settings that I'll discuss later. Kernel extensions and privacy, single sign-on, all the platform SSO configurations that Apple has been releasing in the past years are already supported. Of course, passcode settings and identity certificates, all those use cases for security are covered. One I want to mention that we added this year is the disk permission management. It is very critical for security that companies and our enterprises, they can control which external storage or networks will have access to. So customers now can define if devices will have access to external and storage or network storage as well. Now moving on more on the end user side, we've added the login window configuration. So you can define exactly what the end user experience is going to be when they log into the device in the macOS. One of the biggest innovation that Apple has released for macOS is the ability to push scripts and files via declarative management without an agent. So scripts are already supported. Files is coming soon. So you go to our solution. As you know, we already have that ability to manage scripts from our Ivanti solutions. You just need to go to scripts and create it same as you've done before. The only difference is that you will need to use this new configuration that it's called scripts via declarative management to push the scripts to the macOS without an agent. If you choose to use the legacy format or with the Mac agent that we already have, that is a different configuration that it's called scripts via macOS agent. So scripts and files are managed in more or less the same way. You will be able to upload your files and then choose them when this files via the declarative management configuration is available, and then push them to the device without any agent required. And one of the critical features is that these scripts and files are stored in a tamper-resistant location on the device. End users cannot access that device location, which makes it a very critical security feature for macOS. Another feature we added a year back, I just want to bring it up quickly, is what's called the partner device compliance for macOS. We already had this for iOS, Android, and Windows, but recently we added for macOS. And how does this work? So we have compliance policies, you out of contact encryption, custom, and all the type of compliance policies push via Neurons for MDM to the device. So the device will reply, and we will set in our Ivanti Neurons for MDM or EPMM, will set the compliance flag. Once this is reported from the device, we can push it to the tenant of Microsoft Entra that has been already linked to Ivanti. So for all our customers that are using conditional access with Microsoft, this is a great feature because they can leverage the compliance engine from Ivanti to block devices from accessing any Microsoft service if the device is out of compliance. So as I mentioned, we already support this for Windows and iOS and Android. This has been there for a long time, and now macOS is supported. For macOS application management, we have the macOS store, in-house applications. We have a packager for all those DMG applications and also for scripting. So this is a great tool. Customers really like the packager, easy to use and upload. And if for enhanced security, we have our Ivanti Neurons agent. If you are using our agent, it can also allow us to do and come parity what we have for iOS and Android to have remote control for macOS. So how does it work? You start the session, click for the device, and then you have access via remote control for macOS, and you can service the device. So great feature for parity with iOS and Android. And of course, we have the patch intelligence as well. We know how difficult it is to manage the third-party application updates with our patch intelligence for macOS. We have all the list. We have a vast list of new features, new updates from all the third-party applications that you can review and check the vulnerabilities. Patch intelligence will tell you which devices are compromised with that version, and then patch management for macOS can allow you to remediate and patch the devices with a new version that has been identified. Edge intelligence, you can query the device right away with if you need to know exactly what the status of the device is, and also gives you an idea of what devices are online and you can work with them. And we are at the end of our presentation. Of course, if you are interested in any of these features, feel free to reach out to our teams. We have customer success, professional services, our support teams. They will be more than happy to help you set up any of these features. Or if you want to purchase anything, of course, your sales rep will let you know what the options are. I think we have some Q&A. I know we are at the top of the hour. Okay, so we have one question. What would be the process to migrate MDM for many devices? 2000, for example. Apple also provided APIs. So you can today go one by one the devices as I showed, but of course that could require some time. But Apple has APIs enabled for this use case. So you will have to create and request the APIs via ABM. There's a process in one of my blogs and how to use the APIs for the bulk. I have another question. Is the MDM transition only requiring a power cycle? Yes, the transition MDM is just the restart this is all Apple driven, right? So you don't have to set up, the end user doesn't have to do the setup. It just restarts. Thank you everyone for attending, for joining us. Like I said, any more questions, feel free to reach out to our teams and I will be happy to help you out.